Yesterday we stopped at number 14 when the Buddha talks about the 5 takes: faith, approval, oral tradition, reason, cogitation, and acceptance of a view as a result of pondering it. Under this condition, it is not proper to conclude only this is true, anything else is wrong. Number 15. But, Master Gotama, in what way is there preservation of truth? How does one preserve truth? We ask Master Gotama about the preservation of truth. If a person has faith, Bharadwaja, he preserves truth. When he says, my faith is thus, but he does not yet come to the definite conclusion, only this is true, anything else is wrong. In this way, Bharadwaja, there is the preservation of truth. In this way, he preserves truth. In this way, we describe the preservation of truth. But as yet, there is no discovery of truth. Let's take a look briefly. Footnote number 23, Sacha Nurakana, or the safeguarding of truth, the protection of truth. Footnote number 24, Sacha Nuboda, or the awakening of truth. So the Buddha says, when a person has faith, he preserves the truth when he says, my faith is thus. But because it is still faith, he does not yet come to the conclusion that only this is true, anything else is wrong. Why? Why does he not yet come to that conclusion? Because he hasn't arrived at the truth yet. As yet, there is no discovery of truth. Let's see. Okay, I will read again. If a person approves of something, if he receives an oral tradition, if he reaches a conclusion based on reason, cogitation, if he accepts a view as a result of pondering it, he preserves truth when he says, the view that I accept as a result of pondering it is thus, but he does not yet come to the definite conclusion. Only this is true, anything else is wrong. In this way too, Bharadwaja, there is the preservation of truth. In this way, he preserves truth. In this way, we describe the preservation of truth, but as yet, there is no discovery of truth. So the Buddha repeats the same pattern in this paragraph with the rest of the item. Firstly, the Buddha starts with faith. Now the Buddha repeats with an oral tradition, reason, cogitation, accepts a view as a result of pondering it. Oh, I missed one thing here, approves of something. So in total, there's 5, starting from faith all the way until accepting a view as a result of pondering it. With all these 5, the Buddha says, you should not come to the conclusion yet. Only this is true, anything else is wrong. Because as yet, there is no discovery of truth. That's for number 15. Number 16, Sister Aikim, would you like to read?
16. In that way, Master Gotama, there is the preservation of truth. In that way, we preserve truth. In that way, we recognize the preservation of truth. But in what way, Master Gotama, is there the discovery of truth? In what way does one discover truth? We ask Master Gotama about the discovery of truth. Here, Bharadaja, a monk may be living in dependence on some village or town. Then a householder or a householder's son goes to him and investigate him in regard to three kinds of states. In regard to states based on greed, in regard to states based on hate, in regards to state based on delusion. Are there in this monk any states based on greed, such that with his mind obsessed by those states, while not knowing he might say, I know, or while not seeing he might say, I see, or he might urge others to act in a way that would lead to their harm and suffering for a long time. As he investigates them, he comes to know there are no such states based on greed in this monk. The bodily and verbal behavior of this monk are not those of one affected by greed, and the Dhamma that he teaches is profound, hard to see and hard to understand, peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning, subtle to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot be easily taught by one affected by greed. Thank you.
Mr. Hakim. For number 15, he asks, the Bharadwaja asks about the preservation of truth. For number 16, Bharadwaja further inquire, because the Buddha concludes here with, there is no discovery of truth. Yeah, so he asks further, in what way is there discovery of truth? In what way does one discover truth? Yeah. Then he asks the Buddha about the discovery of truth. For number 17, the Buddha starts with the similar to the sutta that we read before this, investigates the teacher. Investigate him with regards to three kinds of states. What are the three states? Greed, hatred, and delusion. Yeah. We observe, are there in this monk any states based on greed? Yeah. When his mind obsessed with those states, while not knowing, yeah, he says, I know. While not saying, he says, I see. Okay. After you observe him for a while, when you come to know there is no such states based on greed in this monk, yeah. And the Dhamma he teaches is profound, hard to see, peaceful, yeah. And all the way until to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by greed. Yeah. So this one, you have to make your own judgment when you investigate your teacher. That's for number 17. And number 18, Sister Saikyam, would you like to read?
Okay, after greed, we will come to hate. Right? Number 18. When he has investigated him and has seen that he is purified from states based on greed, he next investigates him in regard to states based on hate. Are there in this monk any states based on hate, such that with his mind obsessed by those states, he might urge others to act in a way that would lead to their harm and suffering for a long time? As he investigates him, he comes to know there are no such states based on hate in this monk. The bodily and verbal behavior of this monk are not those of one affected by hate, and the Dhamma that he teaches is profound, to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by hate. Thank you.
Thanks, Saikyam. So as Saikyam mentioned, the same pattern repeated after greed, then the same pattern is repeated for hate. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by hate. Number 19, Sister Shwame, would you like to read?
When he has investigated him and has seen that he is purified from states based on hate, he next investigates him in regard to states based on delusion. Are there in this monk any states based on delusion, such that with his mind obsessed by those states, he might urge others to act in a way that will lead to their harm and suffering for a long time? As he investigates him, he comes to know there are no such states based on delusion in this monk. The bodily, verbal behavior of this monk are not those of one affected by delusion. And the Dhamma that he teaches is profound, to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by delusion.
Okay, thanks, Sister Shome. Of course, the last one after the greed and hatred becomes the delusion. So the same pattern is repeated for delusion. Okay. This. Okay, I will continue after this. So the Buddha explains this in stages. The first stage, investigate the teacher. Now, number 20, we have finally talks about faith. When he has investigated him and has seen that he is purified from states based on delusion, then he places faith in him. Filled with faith, he visits him, pays respect to him. Having paid respect to him, he gives ears. When he gives ears, he hears the Dhamma. Having heard the Dhamma, he memorizes it and examines the meaning of the teachings he has memorized. When he examines their meaning, he accepts those teachings as a result of pondering them. When he has accepted those teachings, as a result of pondering them, desire springs up. When desire has sprung up, he applies his will. Having applied his will, he scrutinizes. Having scrutinized, he strives. Resolutely striving, he realizes with the body the supreme truth and sees it by penetrating it with wisdom. In this way, Bharavaja, there is the discovery of truth. In this way, one discovers truth. In this way, we describe the discovery of truth. But as yet, there is no final arrival at truth. Footnotes number 25. In this series, he scrutinizes. Tuleti, the Pali word, according to PS in the commentary, means that he investigates phenomena as impermanent, suffering, and non-self, the three universal characteristics. This is the stage of insight, contemplation, applies the will, usahati, and strives, padahati, appears similar. We might understand the former as the effort leading to insight, the latter as the effort that leads from insight to world-transcending realization. This last step is signified by the expression, he realizes with the body the supreme truth. What is the supreme truth? The supreme truth, Paramasacha, is Nibbana. That's footnotes number 25. Footnotes number 26. While the discovery of truth, Satyanuboda, in this context, seems to mean the attainment of stream entry, the final arrival at truth, Satyanupati, must mean the attainment of arahantship. Note that the final arrival at truth does not come about through any new measures, but simply through the repeated development of those same factors that led to the discovery of truth. Okay, that's for number 20. So let's see how we arrive at here. Firstly, we investigate the teacher, and then we put in faith with the teacher after our observation, after our investigation. Then we have faith that this teacher is purified. Purified based on what? Based on the 3 states: greed, hatred, and delusion. After having faith in this teacher, we pay respect to him, use ears, and then learn the Dhamma from him. Starting to learn from him, and then we memorize, and then we examine the meaning. After we memorize it, after we examine the meaning, then we accept the teachings. Afterwards, desire springs up. What kind of desire? The desire to attain, to discover the truth. We apply the will, we scrutinize, and we resolutely strive. And that is how we realize with this body the supreme truth, the Nibbana. Okay, any questions or comments? If not, let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了。普愿罪障悉消除，实是常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a supreme Saturday ahead. Thanks everyone. See you guys next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.